Jeep Wrangler Whitecap. When heritage becomes a design language, few. Automotive nameplates can claim uninterrupted relevance across nearly a century. Even fewer can point to a lineage that traces directly back to wartime necessity, civilian adaptation, and modern lifestyle branding without losing their identity along the way. The Jeep Wrangler is one of those rare survivors, and with the introduction of the 2026 Wrangler Whitecap, Jeep is once again reminding the world that heritage, when handled carefully, can be a powerful design and marketing tool rather than a nostalgic crutch. The Whitecap is not a radical reinvention. Instead, it represents something subtler and arguably more difficult to execute. A historically informed aesthetic package that respects Jeep's past while remaining fully integrated into its modern product lineup as the second release in Jeep's ambitious Wranglers for 12 months. Initiative, the Whitecap, follows the more aggressive Moab 392 and signals that Jeep's celebration of its legacy will span multiple emotional registers, from brute force performance to understated historical reverence, a brand that knows its roots. Jeep's decision to lean into its civilian Jeep CJ heritage is no accident. While many automakers reference their past with vague styling, cues, or anniversary badges, Jeep has something most brands do not: a continuous design philosophy that still makes sense today. The original Willys MB, developed during the Second World War, was never intended to be beautiful. It was designed to be simple, durable, repairable in the field, and capable of navigating terrain that conventional vehicles could not. When the war ended, Willys recognized the potential for a civilian adaptation, giving birth to the CJ series, vehicles that retained the military, Jeep's mechanical honesty while adapting it for farms, work sites, and eventually recreation. The Whitecap edition draws directly from that transitional period, when Jeeps began evolving from pure tools into personal vehicles, without abandoning their rugged ethos. Design philosophy, why white matters. At first glance, the Whitecap's defining elements may seem modest: a bright white roof, a white accented grille surround, and vintage-inspired side striping marked 1941. Yet these details are deeply rooted in Jeep history. White hardtops were a defining feature of early aftermarket and military. Cold weather enclosures, often referred to as Arctic tops. These tops weren't styled for flair. They existed to protect occupants from extreme conditions. Over time, Willys began offering factory solutions that maintained the Jeep's angular windshield rake and paired white. Tops with contrasting body colors, a visual identity that quietly signaled utility, durability, and readiness. By reintroducing this contrast in the Whitecap, Jeep taps into a visual language that longtime enthusiasts immediately recognize, even if they can't pinpoint why it feels authentic. Modern execution on classic themes. Unlike vintage Jeeps, the 2026 Wrangler Whitecap is thoroughly modern beneath its retro skin. Built on the current JL platform, it benefits from contemporary safety standards, infotainment systems, and drivetrain options that early Jeep engineers could never have imagined. The Whitecap package is available across multiple trims, including Sahara, Rubicon, and Rubicon X, allowing buyers to choose their preferred balance between daily comfort and hardcore off-road capability. Powertrain options remain familiar: a 2.0-liter turbocharged four-cylinder, delivering a healthy balance of efficiency and torque. The proven 3.6-liter Pentastar V6, favored by traditionalists for its linear power delivery and mechanical simplicity. Rather than limiting the Whitecap to a niche configuration, Jeep has ensured that it integrates seamlessly into the Wrangler lineup, reinforcing the idea that heritage is not a limitation, it's a layer. The role of the Sky one-touch top. One of the most interesting elements of the Whitecap package is the optional Sky one-touch power top, accented with bright white trim to mirror the look of the hardtop. This feature alone encapsulates Jeep's modern philosophy. Preserve the feeling of open-air freedom while making it easier and more refined. Early Jeeps required manual effort to remove tops and doors. Today's Wrangler owners can achieve the same sense of openness at the press of a button. The Whitecap doesn't reject modern convenience. It reframes it within a classic aesthetic. More than appearance, functional consistency. Jeep has been careful not to let the Whitecap drift into purely cosmetic territory. Depending on trim level, buyers receive functional enhancements that align with the Wranglers' purpose-driven image. Body color fender flares on Sahara models for a cleaner, more integrated appearance. Rubicon-specific hood decals that reinforce the trim's off-road pedigree. Retention of core Rubicon hardware, including locking differentials, disconnecting sway bars, and heavy-duty axles. This approach ensures that the Whitecap feels cohesive rather than ornamental, a critical distinction in a segment where authenticity matters. Pricing strategy and market positioning. Special editions live or die by perceived value, and Jeep has structured Whitecap pricing carefully. Instead of presenting it as a standalone trim with inflated costs, Jeep positions it as a package layered onto existing models, with pricing that reflects tangible additions such as the hardtop, decals, and exterior components. This strategy accomplishes two things. It keeps the Whitecap accessible to a wide range of buyers. It reinforces Jeep's reputation for modular customization, an ecosystem rather than a rigid lineup. In an era where many manufacturers are consolidating options to reduce complexity, Jeep continues to embrace personalization as a core brand strength. Why retro works for Jeep, but not everyone. Retro design is risky. When done poorly, it can feel forced, gimmicky, or disconnected from modern expectations. Jeep avoids these pitfalls because its basic vehicle architecture has remained remarkably consistent over time. A body-on-frame SUV with solid axles, removable doors, and a boxy silhouette. Does not require dramatic reinterpretation to feel classic. The Wrangler already looks like a Jeep. The Whitecap simply highlights that fact. Other brands attempting similar throwbacks often struggle because their modern vehicles share little DNA with their historical counterparts. Jeep, by contrast, is building on a foundation that has never fully disappeared. The broader strategy, 12 Wranglers for 12 months. The Whitecap is part of a larger narrative. Jeep's plan to release a new special edition every month serves multiple strategic purposes. Maintaining media attention throughout the year, reinforcing Wrangler's cultural relevance, testing consumer response to different design directions. Rather than relying on a single halo model, Jeep is creating a rolling celebration, one that invites enthusiasts to engage repeatedly rather than all at once. This strategy also allows Jeep to explore different facets of its identity, from hardcore performance to historical storytelling, without overcommitting to any single direction, a living legacy. As Jeep approaches nearly 9 decades of production, the Whitecap stands as a reminder that longevity alone is not enough. What matters is continuity of purpose. The Wrangler has survived because it has always known what it is and what it is not. The Whitecap does not attempt to modernize Jeep's soul. Instead, it reframes it, reminding buyers that the same design philosophy that once supported soldiers and farmers now supports adventurers, commuters, and weekend explorers alike. In a market increasingly dominated by crossovers that blur together, the Wrangler Whitecap feels refreshingly honest. It doesn't chase trends. It tells a story, one written in steel, paint, and nearly a century of evolution. And if this is only the second chapter in Jeep's year-long series of special editions, it sets a thoughtful, confident tone for what's still to come.